Don't do it, guys. Don't place trades based on what you see here. Please consult your own financial advisors and do your own due diligence. All right, with that said, let's go. It is September 21st, Monday. I got it before it turned 12 o'clock. Look at this. It's 11:59. Okay, so while this daily chart is still up here, I lost about $200 on the day. This I'm sure will tick over any moment here. And the biggest reason is, of course, uranium. Cameco went down almost 1%. UUU down 3 point. There is a tick. 3.4%. LEU 8%. Not a good day in the silver miners as well. Down 1% or so. Silver and mine gold. I'm sorry, silver and gold miners. And another not spectacular day in China also. JD was down 7.47%. China down over percent, the ETF. As you can see, just red across the board over here. You can see the markets were down. Almost everything's down. Dollar wasn't that up on the day though. Um, Metals were flat for the most part, but you can see it's just a sea of red here. Very little going up. Amazingly, my my boys from Endeavor up 0.44%, which is good. I didn't have a downtick. I didn't have an uptick on the put sells here, so that's groovy. However, my chemical put call increased a little bit. Overall, not too big of a loss of a day. We'll see. I think tomorrow, reversal Tuesday, will eat up a lot of those losses. We'll see what happens. But I did predict that it's going to be a little bit of a bad day, so we'll see. Maybe tomorrow will be a little bit of a redemption. We'll see. So, interesting things that happened today. Um, I tried. What did I try to do? I tried to sell a couple of contracts of Cameco, but I couldn't. As you can see, I still have the 2K here. I couldn't do it. I did sell a contract for SXCP, and that's gas, I believe, um, company. So we'll see if I collect the money from that, or I might be forced to buy it at $15. We will figure that out. Um, what else? I think that's the only trade I made, and I tried to do the chemical one, but I couldn't get the price I wanted, so I just canceled the trade. That's what that means when it says cancel. I put a limit order in and it just doesn't fill, so you just cancel it, you know. Or it auto cancels, so you can set it to auto cancel by the end of the day. So, you know, you can do that. Let's do a little account overview, super quick. Can look at the accounts. As you can see, Apple still being the biggest gainer. And I have a ton of cash in here, but it's not cash, it's actually collateral. So if we go to the, where would this be? Right here. So options collateral, you can see it's $8,600 in collateral. I've got, what do I have? $6,000 of Robinhood debt that I carry. So, and cash of 4,000, which equals 2,000 extra cash that I can play with. So, anyways, I'm gonna try to roll that into Chemical tomorrow. We'll see if it happens. I don't know if it will. I just have to work the trade. It's called working the trade. I'll work the trade a little bit, try to get a good price. We need to stack those dollars and we need to be able to mitigate these down days that we're having here. Look at this. It's a big down day from this high of 36,000. Now we're all the way back down to 35,647. We're not too worried. Apple, on the other side here, had a decent day. I gave it the go ahead to start rising in value, and it seems to be listening to me. I like when Apple behaves how I tell it to behave. It's always nice. So that was a nice, pleasant surprise here. Mitigated some of the bad day. As you can see, up $41 worth of value increased. So, with that said, any fundamental discussion? Well, there was a big announcement just now today about Rand Gold and um, Barrick. They're going to merge. So Rand Gold and Barrick are merging, and these two are no jokes of companies. These are big companies. So by market cap, I think Barrick was number one or two. I think perhaps Newmont Mining is a bit bigger now, but it used to be the largest mining company in the world, Barrick, and it's merging with Randgold, which is another pretty big company. Now, if you combine them together, they're not that big companies. I mean, but in the mining sector, the gold mining sector, they're huge. I mean, let's take a look at Newmont, for example. I think is the biggest one. Um, and as we can see here, it has a $16 billion market cap. That's like a third, a third of like Uber's market cap. So we're talking about three of these biggest miners in the world equal one Uber. So this is how small this sector is, guys. This is how small it is. 16 billion for the largest company. I think Barrick's probably somewhere on there. Well, why don't we look it up? ABX is a symbol. Yeah, 12. Look at this, $12 billion. It's nothing. It used to be the biggest one. Let's see, Rand Gold. Rand Gold. Oh, it has a nice acronym there. It went up 6%. Is that 6%? Yeah. So, investors are liking the merger, and it's a $6 billion market capitalization company. So it's fairly big. I mean, there aren't many in between. Maybe Gold Corp. Um, but regardless, yeah, Gold Corp's 9. Maybe Yamano, I don't know. Yamano. Not small. So regardless though, it's two giant companies, biggest in the sector, merging together, and this is pretty much big news. It's big because it means that market conditions are forcing the hands of miners to make difficult decisions. That's what that means. It means the price of the commodity is shrinking, is forcing the sector to shrink, to be more efficient, to concentrate. So, which normally would mean that the underlying commodity is underloved. That's what that means. To me, it means that gold does not have that much downside. I don't think that gold will ever be under $1,000, barring like some super dollar buying frenzy that might occur for a short period of time. I really don't think gold is pretty much ever marked in US dollars ever going to drop beneath $1,000. That's what that tells me. Because when the price was at 1,000, we didn't even see this. And now we're seeing it. I think that companies are capitulating and now the supply is going to be less. Yeah, demand can lessen too, but it's hard for me to imagine that gold could be more underloved than what it is right now. I mean, it's basically doesn't even exist in modern vocabulary. Like nobody's mentioning gold at all. In schools, when I Not in anybody's conversation. It doesn't enter, you know? You can talk about Venmo, Snapchat, Instagram, Mark Zuckerberg. People talk about stuff like that. They talk about Uber, 50 Cent, so Justin Bieber. Nobody talks about gold. They talk about Apple, Samsung, Fortnite, Spotify. Speaking of Spotify, I own a couple shares, 3 shares, and oops, Spotify, and they're not doing well. They're not doing bad so far. They had an IPO not too long ago. I don't know if you guys know about this company. Obviously, I'm not recommending it, but I really like it. It was as high as 196, and it's having a little bit of a downdraft right now, but I use Spotify. It's great. I like it a lot. Um, they have a very interesting Amazon dot com-ish type of business model where they just burn through a ton of cash and then don't worry about profitability so much. Like they use every single one of the profits to reinvest in the business, which is kind of cool. It's good for growth stock. So it's definitely a growth stock if you're looking for a growth stock. But again, I'm not recommending it. You gotta make sure that you make your own choices out there. All right, so I don't have any original trade ideas. I've been trying all weekend to come up with good trade ideas. I haven't found any, so I'm just sticking to what I know. I want to branch out, like I've been mentioning before, into companies like Ford, companies that are outside of the mining sector, which is what I've been following for the longest time. I need something else. I mean, it's spending so much time in the doldrums, and it's not that bad for options trading, but it's bad as an investment. Like mining is such a bad investment. I talked about that last time on the previous video. So I need to branch out into some more regular companies that I can trade with. So far, the only ideas I've come up with is China, which is fine. It's a very macro-ish play, and this JD company, but I only have a few shares in it, only 10 shares. I might buy some more. Some more. I mean, as you can see, it's basically close to its bottoms here. Its opening price. So, I doubt that it's decreased in value in all this time. The company's decreased in value since then. But we'll see. They have some problems with their CEO. He has to be like present at every single meeting, or they have some all kinds of weird contingencies. That company, because the guy runs it, who runs this company, is a huge majority owner and basically runs the company himself. Like he makes all the decisions. So, but it's a big company. It does business. It's Chinese. It's undervalued, probably, relative to the assets it owns. I would be willing to bet a large sum of money that that's the case. The, there is that perceived trade war. I talked about trade wars before and how I don't give them much credence. I spoke about how, as a country, you can just sell to other countries. You just might not get the price that you want for your goods. But there's unlimited demand out there as long as the price is right. So yeah, you may have to get a haircut on your pricing. You can't sell it at a good price to the US, but you'll still find somewhere to ship it. So anyways, the trade talk thing is, in my opinion, a bit overblown. Even if you talk about billions, it's not that much. 200 billion here, 200 billion there. It's not that much in the grand scheme of things, especially since they're taking like 10%, 25% at the most out of those 200 billion. Plus, it's not going to end up being 200 billion if you're putting a tariff on it. It's going to be end up being a lot less of imported goods. So these numbers are completely meaningless and they're just a scratch, on a bear's back. Is that a saying? Well, it is now. It's a scratch on a bear's back. It's not gonna wake it up. Ooh, that's deep. Bull bear. So I'm not worried at all. It's just a fly. But the markets are worried, and I bet you some of this big drop, along with the controversy of this company, the guy was in the U.S. and he ran into some trouble, is bringing these stock prices down. So I see there's some potential there as a value. Again, I'm not recommending the stock. Do your own research. All right. Well, we'll see. I might pull the trigger, I might not. I got 2 grand of cash that I got to deploy and make it work for me. So we'll see how that goes. All right, guys. With that said, I'll see y'all tomorrow. Peace out.